Now that the little clappers and the stems are in each one of these bell insides, I'm ready to sew this block together. This one is larger than my flannel board, so I ended up putting this center piece here, which goes right here, on an extra piece of batting just because it's easier to pick up and carry. So this is going to be the first piece that I start sewing together. So this is pretty straightforward. I'm just going to put right sides together and chain stitch down. But now that those pairs are chain stitched, I'm just going to fold the third layer, or the third row here on top, and chain stitch those. Now all the rows are sewn across, so all I need to do is fold these down and stitch the rows together so that I have the center patch completed. The top two rows are sewn together now, and all I need to do is fold this bottom row up and stitch that across. This center patch is finished, so I'm just going to set this one aside carefully and start working on the patches in the rest of the block. The next thing I'm going to do is sew the center of the bell to the outside on each one of the 4 patches. The easiest way to do that is to pick up your outside piece and find the center of it. So you'll fold it in half and then finger press the center, and I put a pin in it, and then open it back up. And then do the same thing with this leaf-shaped piece. Is fold it in half and put a pin in it. So now you can see you've got the 2 pins, and what you want to do is line them up like that. And I know that looks pretty weird, but you're going to spread it out after you get it lined up. So take one of the pins out and pin down, and now you've got your center. And take the other pin out, and then what you're going to do is line up the ends. So you're going to line up the end of your outside piece with the tip of your leaf piece, and then just smooth it out. And I'm going to put 4 or 5 pins in between here when I line up these raw edges. So I've got those on that side, and then you just do the same thing on the other side. So now I've got that all pinned and ready to sew. So I'm going to put the inside of the bell on the bottom, and then I'm going to watch this piece, the white piece, the gathers, to make sure that they're not that I'm not sewing in any pleats. So I'll put this under my sewing machine and actually start with my needle in so I can take that pin out, and then I'm just going to sew around. And once you're finished sewing, you just open it up. Now that my 4 corners are done on the outside, it's time to sew the inside pieces on. And lining these up is going to be exactly the same process. The only difference is that when you get to the end here, your tail on this piece is going to line up with everything on the piece that you've already sewn. In other words, the red, in my case, the red is going to line up with the white. Now we have our 4 corner patches done, and the next step is to create the patches in between the corners. So what I'm going to do is simply sew these triangles onto the center pieces. And it's pretty simple. And once I do that, then I'm going to have squares in each one of these patches. So the first set of triangles has been sewn on. So now it's just a matter of sewing the other side of the piece on. So this is just another triangle. And now you can see how this block really is just a 9 patch at heart. So all we need to do is sew these patches together in order to make this block. And I'm going to just start at the top. I fold my patches right sides together and then stitch down the side. The first 2 patches in each row have been sewn together, so all I need to do is add the 3rd patch on in each row. Now we've got the rows sewn together, so all I need to do is sew the rows to each other. So the first thing I'm going to do is take this top row and fold it down onto the center and then sew the seam. We've got the top 2 rows attached, and now all we need to do is fold the bottom one up and sew that seam. and then we're ready to take it to the ironing board. This bell block is now finished, and as you can see, this is quite a large block. This is an 18-inch block, and I did that because of the curves. It's a lot easier to sew it when the seams are a lot longer. They're more gentle curves. This was a very fun block to do. It had a few more challenges, but you can see when you divide it all up, it's still just a 9-patch, and it's really easy to sew. I hope you enjoyed joining me and watching how to sew this block together. Remember, you can get your free download of the pattern for this block at www.quiltblocklibrary.com. Stay tuned, because next week we're going to start doing some stars for December. The first one we're going to do is called Spinning Star, so watch out for that next Monday. In the meantime, peaceful piecing. This is Penny Hallgren from quiltblocklibrary.com signing off.